people are so willing to help. I remember the first convention I went to, and I had people like willing to run through my onboarding process for me on, just volunteering to do this, executives.
Yeah.
Volunteering their time to run through, my onboarding and to see if it's up to snuff, right? And to test it for me and get an outside opinion on it. That was just mind-boggling to me that they are offering to sacrifice their time because it's valuable time, right?
I think that people too in this space, in the franchise space, there's an intellectual curiosity about the practice of franchising itself, right? We've all kind of like come into this world of franchising and realize like, oh, this is like, it's a mental puzzle that's fun to solve, right? And so I'm sure these executives that the ones you're just talking about, like helping you solve that puzzle was probably a fun intellectual game or challenge for them. Yeah, like just something that's like, this is to apply your framework of knowledge of franchising to this particular set of, a solution that was needed to a problem that existed in this environment. I mean, I think that was they probably enjoyed that as much as you enjoyed having them weigh in on it.
Yeah. And also seeing inner workings of, how somebody's doing something, which nobody's really shy about that stuff here too. I noticed that, this works for my company, blah, blah, blah. And they're not, like trade secrets is a thing, but it's not as prevalent, right? Most people are really open about this works for me. This doesn't work. Here's why. And they're willing to share that information very openly. Yeah. And they're not guarded like a lot of private, separate non-franchise businesses are. Yeah. If I tell anybody this secret, they'll compete with me. And they don't view it that way. There's enough meat on the plate for everybody, right? And that's how they view it. They have a abundant mindset instead of the scarcity mindset that you do see in a lot of smaller business and corporate model. I've had other businesses before, be guarded like that or be very hyper competitive with me in the local market. Right. And they're like, because now I'm a target in my market, right? I'm one of the larger companies in my space.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I've become not always, but
target on your back. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're curious what I'm doing and they watch me a little bit closer, right? Competitors do. And I've had some of them that kind of hold that, like they make me a target and I'm looking at it the other way. It's like, I'm not really thinking about you. I don't care. Aside from if you have a good tip or you're doing something well, I might actually steal it from you and use it. Right. But I don't see a problem with that. If you see something we're doing well, use it. I don't care. I win my clients because of the people I hire, not necessarily just the system. It's the people within
the culture,
the culture in the company. So I'm not worried about competition. I'll just, okay, cool. You do the same, whatever. I say it's a checklist, right? Hey, you copy my checklist and you use it. Do you really think that's no, it's not going to impact my business. I don't care. Take it all day. My clients stick with me because we take good care of them. So if you want to compete in that way, that's great. That brings up the standards in the whole industry. And that's awesome.
You hear it get said so much in franchising, and there's a lot of cliches that are so true. And it's the reason they're cliche, but the high tide raises all ships, right? And you hear that said in franchising. It's so true though. It's that what you're talking about, people genuinely look to help even their competitors in this space. Mm-hmm. And it's a big part of the reason that I immediately felt like I was at home in the franchise world. It's like-minded individuals. But there's different skill sets. Some people have a stronger operations mind. Some people have a stronger, business development, sales type mind. And, it's interesting to watch that, but to watch the interplay of the personalities and the different types of brands. And one thing I find so fascinating too, and this is kind of another talking about the intellectual puzzle of franchising and why it's so fascinating to be a part of. I always wanted to have my finger on the pulse of the whole nation, right? Kind of like I mentioned John Steinbeck's book, Travels with Charlie, earlier. And I don't know if you know, it's a book that he wrote. It was nonfiction. I think he fictionalized parts of it, but the whole concept was he was an American writer who he had gotten to be about 60 years old. And he's like, I felt like I lost touch with the country that I've been writing about, and I want to go take a big road trip and rediscover it. And so he buys a a Winnebago and names it after Don Quixote's horse, and then brings his dog Charlie with him, and they just go on this long road trip around the country. And but just that same idea of like getting a finger on the pulse of the country, I've always felt that when I do go on road trips and when I travel, and you start to see what brands are the franchise brands, right? And it's like it's a connectedness of the whole nation. And like I said, if I'm sitting in Rhode Island for months on end, I start to feel stir crazy. That's the wanderlust in me, right?
Sure.
So, franchise world, within which I get to travel, but also to meet people from all over the country who are representing brands from all over the country that are serving the interests of people, on a wide ranging, everything from the service brands to the fitness concepts to the cookie brands to you name it, right? But it's like, what's hot right now? It's so fascinating to watch, to have a direct visibility into what's driving the culture, what's changing, right? All the different concepts that come along are a big part of what's hot right now. And it's fun to watch that. Anyway, this is me on a tangent now, but it's so fascinating to be able to be part of that world. So it's one of the most fun things about franchising. And then the people that are in it, you get to, it's a wide variety of types of people and interests coming together. And franchising itself is like vertical agnostic. It is a vertical into itself. I heard it said somewhat recently, franchising is really, it's a distribution method, right? For goods and services. And it is, I guess in one way its own vertical, but it is vertical agnostic in terms of, I don't know, it's such a fascinating space. It's an intellectual puzzle that we get to solve together and build together, which is what's so fun about coming to the IFA convention and seeing it all come together in one large show, and we're all pushing and helping each other grow. So,
now a word from our sponsor.
I'm Refreshman, and I'm here to empower you to take charge of your destiny. Are you tired of working for someone else? Do you dream of making a difference in your community and unleashing your full potential? Then look no further than Refresh Franchising. With us by your side, you can start your own heroic business venture with the unwavering support and cutting-edge resources you need to conquer your goals. Our franchise model is like a super serum that will give you the strength to succeed. Refresh provides extensive training, ongoing mentorship, and an established brand with a loyal customer base. Plus, you'll become part of a heroic league of entrepreneurs who serve as allies on your journey towards greatness. And the best part, you won't have to waste time building your business from scratch like some kind of neophyte. With Refresh Franchising, you'll hit the ground running at lightning speed and unlock the key to heroic financial success. So gather your courage, summon your inner superhero, and visit refreshfranchising.com to launch your heroic franchise journey. Always remember, together, we can achieve greatness.